under good circumstances.
Yeah, much better. It was a good day for Carolina. Damn.
Great day to be a Tar Heel.
Yeah, damn right. Absolutely.
Just a reminder, we're going to ask Coach to make an opening statement, and then we'll take questions for our players only for 10 minutes, and then we'll dismiss them, and Coach will remain for further questions. Coach, we're open up with a statement from you.
Yeah, wow, what a great day to be a Tar Heel. You know, obviously with a big win for both our men and our women, and also my old Princeton Tigers got a big win. So it was a good day in the basketball world. You know, clearly we hadn't played in 2.5 weeks except for one game, and you could tell. And so there was a lot of rust on both ends. I thought we were really stagnant. And at halftime, we really got into them a little bit and required that we get back to our standard. And what I'll remember about this game is how much these guys trusted each other. When things weren't going well, the ball moved better. They just really trusted each other. And the two gamers to my right, you know, can speak for themselves, but I can tell you that I'm really glad that they're Tar Heels. I've been glad since the day they chose it, and they just keep getting better and better, and it's a joy to coach them. So huge win for our program with how far we've come, and we're looking forward to the next opportunity.
Thank you, Coach. We'll open it up now for questions for our players.
Alex Simon from the Next. Deja, as Coach just said, 2.5 weeks with only one game there. How, and especially these are the most important games of your season, how much time do you really need to get into the game all of a sudden and kind of shake the rust off?
Yeah, well, it took us a little longer than expected. But, you know, we knew that it had been a while since we played. We played, one game in 2 weeks. So at halftime, our talk was like, you know, we're good. Let's just push through it. We're going to fight to win this game. We're not backing down. And we pulled it out in the second half.
Deja can score the way that she does. Just how important is it when you can kind of get the ball to her and know it's going in sometimes more often than it's not?
Yeah, especially when I get the ball inside, I'm looking out for open shooters because that was today's game, was finding open shooters. And when I pass to Deja, I trust that she's going to make the right read, and she's consistently shown me to do that. And so I just know as soon as I pass it to her, I'm looking and I'm ready to box out just in case she misses, but she doesn't miss often.
Next question.
Hey, Shelby Swanson with the Daily Tar Heel. I just wanted to ask, you know, Coach Banghart just talked about having trust in each other, and I saw throughout the game you guys had small moments, breaks in the game where you would come together in huddles. Can you talk about some things that were said in those huddles throughout the game and the importance that those played in kind of keeping the energy levels relatively calm, if that makes sense?
Yeah, I think what got us here is our connectedness. We play together. We trust each other. We're playing for each other. That's our theme for this tournament. So in those huddles, our talk was just, you know, everyone, let's go. We're not losing this game. We're going to do whatever it takes. Let's defend. Let's get stops to scores. Let's pull this game out. And that was our talks in the huddles, I'd say.
Yeah, and off that, those huddles are so important, especially after if one of us have a bad foul and there's just a lot of heat in the moment, we pull each other together, like calm everybody down, get us on the right page, and get us moving forward.
Next question for our players.
Javier Morales, All Sports Tucson. You guys are going to play a team from the West Coast in the next round, either Arizona and UNLV. Have you guys been able to follow any teams out here, or how difficult is it to know how good Arizona or UNLV are since you're on the East Coast?
That'll just be us watching scout, watching film. We'll sit and watch this game. We don't know too much about them, but it's kind of good to play someone other than, you know, ACC teams since December. So we're excited for that. We're excited for the challenge and for the matchup for whoever we play.
Alex Simon again. Would you guys especially defend in the fourth quarter? Obviously, this game's back and forth, but to hold them, I think at one point with like 2 minutes ago, they only had 4 points. What did you guys do defensively in the fourth that seemed to work?
I think in the fourth quarter, we just had to dig deep. Everybody's tired at that point. You're playing a great opponent, so it's about doing the little things, talking to your teammates, getting in gaps, being on help side defense. We really had to focus and lock in defensively in order to keep them off the scoreboard.
Other questions for the players?
Could you guys speak on Hodgson's ability to come off the bench and really come alive in the fourth quarter?
Man, Eva Hodgson, she is such a burst of energy coming off the bench. She's our starter, we would say. We put her in that starting lineup. She's just, like, her coming off the bench, she takes charges. She does the dirty work. She hits open threes. Like, she is our energy, I would say. And whenever she comes in, you don't see our energy go downhill. It's if anything, it goes up. And we love having Eva on the court. She has such a loud voice. She's so encouraging. So I really enjoy playing with Eva.
Yeah, Eva does whatever it takes for us to win a basketball game, and you need players like that to go far in March.
Facts.
Great.
You guys had a section of fans behind you where you were sitting. Did you hear them, or what was that like to see them from North Carolina here?
It's so great to see our fans follow us all the way to the other side of the country. Like, just to know that we have that much support is so amazing. It's so great to look up and see all that blue in the stands, and knowing that they're rooting for us and they flew all the way out here just to see us play and see us win some games is exciting.
And I think I definitely have a trained ear for like the Carolina voices of our fans behind the bench. I remember I was on the free throw line and I heard Deja's mom was like, "Liz, you got it," and I was like, "Oh yeah, I got
Liz,
it."
baby.
Yeah, it was something like that, and I was like, "Oh yeah, this is definitely going in."
Oh, that's proud.
Gotta love them.
Yeah, there sort of seemed to be a shift in momentum in the fourth quarter, and your shots were falling, and the team really seemed to loosen up. There were a lot more celebrations on the threes that I saw from players. Could you talk about that and sort of what moment you felt the energy really shift and the momentum shift in your favor?
I think it started with the defensive end. I think we had a lot more energy. I remember a key point when Alyssa jumped in the passing lane for a steal. I think that was the turning point for us.
You asked for it, so I was like,
Coach has been asking for that all game, so Alyssa got that. I thought that was the turning point for us as far as energy-wise, because as soon as we saw Alyssa do that, we all turned it up defensively, and then that led to easy offense. We hit a lot of threes, transition threes, layups, got to the free throw line. So.
Other questions from the room? If not, we do have a question for those attending virtually. We'll call on R.L. Bynum from the Tar Heel Tribune. R.L.?
Hey, this question's for Alyssa and Deja. All season, you guys have gone through adversity in games and always fought back and played well. How much of that experience in those sorts of games in the regular season give you confidence that you could pull this off today when you were trailing throughout the middle two quarters?
Yeah, like I said, our connectedness is what got us here. I think once we were down in the first half, we gathered together and we were just like, listen, like, we've been playing so well together all year. Like, we didn't come this far to lose in the first round. We are going to give do whatever it takes in the second half to pull out this win. Stick to our principles, pull it out defensively, give more energy defensively. That'll lead to offense, and I think we did just that, and we pulled out this win, which I'm super happy about, by the way.
Any follow-up questions from anyone virtually? Okay.
What was the mood in those middle two quarters when things weren't going so well? What was the talk among you guys during those middle two quarters?
Yeah, during those two quarters, we knew that was a pivotal part of the game. It's either we go up together or we go down, and we just had confidence in each other. We trusted each other, and instead of pointing outward, we pointed inward, and we were saying, I'll be there on your help side. I will get this. I'll box out. You come get the rebound. And so it's about working together, and Deja already said it, like, connectedness is really what roots our confidence, and that was what was able for us to help us get that win.
Could you see the look in the faces of their players there in the fourth quarter that they could tell that it was going to fall apart for them?
Myself personally, when I was guarding their low post, I noticed her stop posting up and stop being aggressive. So that's when I knew. I was like, okay, I'm going to pick it up a notch because they're starting to back down, and they didn't fight back. But that's a tribute to our defense and our active on-ball engagement.
Thank you.
All right. You all are dismissed.
Just like that. One.
So far, that's one, babe.
That's one.
And we will open it up for questions for Coach.
It's like Fort Knox in these places.
Wow.
I got you.
All right. My first question was
Yeah.
pertaining to the 2-2-1 press that SFA was running on you all. So you knew it was going to come
Yeah.
coming into this game, and you seemed to struggle with it a little bit, like Bynum mentioned in the middle 2 quarters.
Mm-hmm.
What adjustments did you make going into the end of the game that allowed you to control the ball better?
You know, I've been coaching Carly a long time, and I'm pretty easy on her because her and I have a different vibe. We sort of know what. I can just be direct with her. And at halftime, I told her I needed a whole lot more from her with the ball in her hands in terms of an aggressive mindset. And so, you know, in the first half, she was just facilitating, and they were really guarding out on the wings. And so her being aggressive in the press break in the second half changed everything for our press break. And so that was a huge part of our success, I think.
Courtney, Alex Simon from the Next. First off, Jen Hatfield says hello.
Oh, go Ivy. And Ivy, the Princeton Tigers had a big win today. That's a good day for me.
So I wanted to ask you, this
Yeah.
is your 10th tournament here,
Yeah.
and in, I think, 8 of them, you've been the lower-seeded team coming into these games. The
Yeah.
one time you guys were at Princeton with that undefeated team, you
Yeah.
were the 8 seed. But is there a difference in your preparation or even just maybe in the mentality of the team when you are the higher-seeded team?
You know, I think it's a great question because I'm typically, like you said, I'm SFA. And so I think I was able to help our guys understand that these guys, they're ready for you. They've been waiting for the opportunity to play a Power 5 all year long, you know, and they've been waiting for this opportunity, and they've won 28 games, and they're not going to back down. They're like, finally, like, you know, as we saw with Princeton today as well. And so I think I actually met this game with that I have even more respect for SFA because I've been in their shoes, right? But yeah, when you come into a tournament where you're the higher seed, your body of work gives you a higher seed. That helps, right? It helps because it should, in theory, give you an easier opponent. Now, the thing about March is I told my guys there's no bad teams. So, like, it would be awesome to play a bad team, but they're at home. So we don't get to do that. So, yeah, these guys were picked 7th in the ACC, you know, and we start 4 sophomores. And Ali Zalai came off the bench and played a lot as a 5th sophomore, and they're now in the second round of the the NCAA tournament, you know.
From a coach's perspective, because they're sophomores, you guys did get the game. You lost last year in the tournament, but how much of a difference can you tell in this moment from where they were last year to where they are now?
Oh, totally different. I told them before the game that we're in this moment because what needed to happen is every returner had to be better, individually better, and they are. And then I said the additions, so grad transfers and freshmen, they have to contribute. And then the third thing is they have to come together and decide that they're going to be willing to do whatever it takes to be special. And you check off all those boxes, and here we are, right? And so, yeah, that was you know, it's hard to win here. I'd prefer not to have my NCAA tournament record plastered all over everywhere because it's not that sexy. But the fact of the matter is I'm sitting here today, and I've brought a team that I've really come to love to the second round so far.
It means you've been here a lot, though. So
That's true. This is like old hat for me.
And speaking of that, obviously it's a game day. You want to be focused, but clearly you know what your former school did today. How
Heck
much,
yeah.
I guess, in this day, you know, you're trying to be focused on your game, but can you just walk us through how you were aware? Were you watching? What
Absolutely.
were you doing?
Yeah. You know, those are kids. I've been in their homes. You know, even their freshmen, you know, because they took a year because of COVID. So, you know, first we got in from practice and we were all celebrating the men's win. We were watching kind of that last few minutes of the men's game together with our cheerleaders and band right in the lobby. It was great. And then I get up to my room and it's like, oh God, now I'm stressing about that game. So, you know, the 3 teams I care about the most all advanced today. You know, so it was a good day for me and the people that I had to both leave when I left Princeton. I'm still rooting for them, so it was a good game.
And did you and Carly share that moment?
Absolutely, yeah. Carly, her boyfriend's on the men's team, and he flew out for the game. So yeah, you know, we had a moment right towards the end of the game, and I said, I better be your first hug. And she's like, you've been my first hug literally since day one. I said, good point. I'll see you soon.
So Deja Kelly, 3 points away from her career high with 28-point game. Could you just talk about the impact that she had on today's game?
Yeah, you know, Deja I was a little bit worried about because she didn't play so well in the first game last year in the NCAA tournament, and that can force you to push a little bit. We met yesterday and talked about what would it take, what would you playing well look like? You know, and she's a cerebral player, so she thinks through all the different aspects of the game. And so we listened and we talked about it, and I said, no, none of those answers. Those answers are helpful, but if we win this basketball game, you will have played well. right? So whatever it takes, if that means you have to facilitate, we don't know because we have to see what SFA does, and we have to be willing to adjust throughout the game, right? And so I thought when she was able to facilitate a little bit more, it opened her up, and the ball moved better. So we got her moving a little bit better in the second half, and that opened her up.
Yeah, and I also just wanted to ask about Hodgson's role coming off
Yeah.
the bench, as she does so often for you guys, and in particular her coming into the game in the fourth quarter and starting things off with that floater, and just how big of a role she played in the momentum late in the game.
Absolutely. Eva has a fearlessness to her. I told her when we met yesterday, I told her, you're too good a player not to have played in March. She's never played in the NCAA tournament. And I said, you're too good of a player for that. So, the fact is that you're going to have to not only play in it, but be effective in your very first chance. Luckily, you're made for that. The kid's so fearless. And so, I count on her, and in all ways to be in, she goes in either at the 1, the 2, or the 3. What a gift that is to have someone that I could put in early in the game, late in the game, doesn't matter, and she can play any of those spots. So her fearlessness and her energy and her ability to lift others is a very big part of her success and ours. She's from New Hampshire, right? Okay. So am I. Same town.
Yeah, and just a follow-up question on that. When were you having this conversation with her about, it's incredible that you've never played in March?
Yeah, I met with the players individually yesterday. We've been here a while, so had some time. But just to make sure, I've played in this tournament as well, 2 or 3 times. I can't remember. That's how old I am. But and there's nothing like it because you're staring at the finality of your season. It's like hitting you in the head if you let it, right? And so that can bring you some emotions that don't allow you to operate at your best. And so I just kind of wanted to talk through where they were at. What does success look like for you, and just make sure they were focused on the right things. So that all happened yesterday.
Question here. Oh, you're good. Okay. Any other questions from in the room? Okay, we'll go to those attending virtually, and we have a question from Noah Monroe from the Daily Tar Heel. Noah?
Hey, Coach. Congrats on the win today.
Thanks,
Coming
bud.
into the tournament, y'all were seen as an unexperienced team by people, and you kind of talked about it starting for sophomores. But, after a win over a team who a lot of its core is seniors, what does that say about the postseason readiness of your team?
Yeah, I feel like every team we play has like 5 fifth-year seniors because of COVID. And so this is a similar team. They've got a ton of experience, ton of NCAA experience. And so luckily, as I say, that story's been told. Every team we've played in the ACC, all the top teams, top 7, all have an impactful COVID senior. And, we've got our sophomores rolling through. So, it's just... you kind of got to deal with who we are and focus on what we're good at. And what we're good at is we're connected defensively. We play with good pace on offense, and we rebound when we're good. We do those 3 things, and so we tried to stay true to those principles. But yes, I'm getting tired of playing against 27-year-olds.
All right, thank you.
Another question from online, R.L. Bynum again. R.L.?
Congratulations, Courtney. Can you take us into the dressing room at halftime?
Oh, God.
Was that the most animated or most intense you've been during a halftime this season, except maybe Raleigh? I mean, how was that?
Yeah, you're right. It was that. It was probably my grandmother wouldn't have been happy to be in the room if that's what you're asking. But yeah, I think there was, we were hoping that they could play their rust off, but that didn't happen. So I felt like I could maybe push it off myself with my words. So, just going back to our principles and asking us to be more aggressive and imploring more energy and activity and angles on both sides of the ball. So I would say it was a lot of imploring their energy out of them.
And then, like what I asked the players, obviously you guys have been resilient against adversity all season.
Yeah.
Do you think that gave them confidence today, knowing they've done it before?
Yeah, I mean, it's a tough year. It's so hard to win in March, and I think when you're wearing Carolina across your chest, sometimes that gets taken for granted, and it doesn't in our locker room. We know how hard it is to win, and to think about how this group, when you're staring at the finality of your season, and things aren't going your way, and that can make you tight. These guys just show such toughness. They show such toughness. They trust me. They listen, and they give great energy. We got a bunch of fighters. So You've followed us closely all year, and you've seen that. So this was a game that I keep hearing our games are, quote, so fun to watch. I'm looking for a really fun game to coach. Hopefully that's the next one.
How were the emotions going from the anxiety of going into the fourth quarter to that run and just total excitement? It's had to be a emotional roller coaster for your team.
Yeah, it felt great for me to be able to see them rewarded for trusting each other. We had been asking them to do that, both with their ball movement and their body movement, and the ball stuck a little bit. And when the ball started to move, they started to trust each other. It was a thing of beauty. And then defensively, we had to go really small. What's her name? Alyssa was guarding the 5, a very good player at that. And so that allowed us to switch out on things. So we also were a little bit out of position as well. And yeah, it's a beautiful thing when you're a part of a group that trusts each other, and they showed that today.
We got time for one more question, if there is one. Go ahead.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you about a particular moment in the game. So this is early in the fourth quarter, and SFA called a timeout after you guys had sank a few shots, and your bench is going crazy, UNC fans going crazy, SFA is running to their bench, and you were just kind of turned and staring, I want to say, at the scoreboard ahead of you. I just want to know what was going through your minds at that moment.
Fouls to give, fouls that they have, line up in, just trying to, the emotion of the game, it can make you a bad decision maker, right? And so I really try to know that my role is to, as I say, play chess and they play hoops. My goal, my job is to make sure that I'm prepared. How many timeouts do they have? How many timeouts are we are? And the scoreboard gives you all that information. So it's just, when I go in and see them, I'm able to make sure that they have the information that they need. So it was just me being cerebral. It's kind of how I roll.
Awesome. And a quick follow-up on that. I believe the score was you guys had just gone up by 2. What was the game plan going forward to keep that momentum going?
Keep going. We wanted to get an easy one early if we could, attack hips, because they were starting to get a little handsy. They were playing more urgently. And so that was either going to be a layup or a free throw, by attacking hips. And they did a great job of that. They stayed spaced and did that and earned free throw trips and put the game away.
One more real quick question from Noah online.
Hi, Noah.
Hey, Coach. So Jordan Lewis last year, 32 points, 4 3-pointers, and then,
22. I got you. Nugent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nugent had
26.
similar game today, but Deja Kelly won for 13 last year, but she stepped up today. So what does that say about her competitiveness to step up when what y'all needed?
Absolutely.
When y'all needed.
Yeah, she wanted that so bad. I think we had an important meeting yesterday just to get her in the right space. But to put up 28 in an NCAA tournament game is as a sophomore is remarkable. And so she came here to bring Carolina as far as she could do it, and she's doing a pretty darn good job of that.
Coach, congratulations, and
Thanks,
we'll
bud.
see you tomorrow.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
You bet.
Thanks, guys.